Good evening and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gacha episode 36. Finally, no more haunted villages, no more plays, no more Kaguya and the 100 Army. Finally, we're going back to normal. We're going into the main storyline. And I have to say, aside from cringy Hotaro and the usual thing, we finally have a couple of reveals. And the way Hotaro took them was, of course, typical Hotaro fashion, which I will explain further once, we get to the scene in question. But other than that, this episode felt a little bit short, and we get to see, the origins of what could be, the final mega form in terms of who came first, the egg or Hotaro situation. Now, the story begins with, Kyoka and Weird Sister number 2 being in the restaurant, and the alliance is supposed to make Weird Sister number 2 laugh, because according to Professor Kyoka, she believes that the way for Weird Sister number 2 to become a human, or at least feel like a human, is to make her laugh. Of course, there's one other saying, and when it comes to food, it warms the soul, But in this case, Kyoka believes that, hey, we should make number 2 laugh because it could be the first step into becoming or feeling like a human. So to make this scene short, the alliance try their best to make Weird Sister number 2 laugh. Obviously, these skits, if you will, were cringe as hell. Even number 2 was like, this is stupid, this is cringe. You can tell by her attitude that she's not interested. And when it came to Hotaro and the tickle attack led by Hopper 1, it looked like number 2 was actually laughing, but at the same time I got the impression that she just like she was laughing, yet it was not that she's not. So she's like, pretending to laugh, or she's not actually laughing, and she leaves the restaurant, and Kyoka's like, I don't know, like, is it her actual laugh, or she is laughing, as sarcastically, if you will. So either way, I don't think it worked. I don't think it worked at all. So after that lousy attempt to making Weird Sister number 2 laugh, before I move on to the next scene, however, Mama-san has once again went to the other side of town getting groceries again, or getting her nails done, or there's a strong possibility that she has returned to the character closet until she is needed. Either way, we don't see Mama-san at all. My God, she is one of those characters, like, why did you put her into the show when she could have been a good character to use, but guys, she is useless as hell. That's all I'm going to say about that. Or else we're going to stay here forever. So we move on for that lousy experiment to, once again, Minato Sensei gives his report to the useless Alchemy Association. He is retelling what happened for the past 2 weeks of Kaguya and the 100 Army, that sort of thing. Just a status report. Which, of course, once again, the useless association gives, the alchemist a thanks. Thank you for for stopping the 100 army, and keep up the good work. And it's just again, the Alchemist Association, they are equivalent to the old Republic Jedi Order, where they just sit there in the council chamber and just absorb and do nothing while planets are getting burned because of the Mandalorian threat and blah blah blah. They're just the equivalent of the old Jedi Order at the time. And Minato Sensei once again tells the association about the Abyssalis King and how he is a bigger threat than the master. We need your help. Of course, the useless association says, well, we don't know much about this guy, so it's best to observe. And I'm like, okay, you guys did not help the first time Minato Sensei asked for help. And when the master made his triumphant return, you guys did nothing while the Alliance did their thing and saved the world. And then when they got back to the alchemy school that only has like 4 students and 1 lousy teacher, you give them a video message telling them, oh, we didn't know that the master was evil. We apologize for that. And, keep up the great work for, not only from defeating him, great job on that. Also, I heard that you are nearly close to collecting all the chemi cards. Keep up the good work, Johnny. And now this. Like, they just don't want to do anything for their fellow alchemists when they're in need of something. They just sit there in their council chamber and just observe. And I'm like, okay, we're close to the end of the show, and the Alchemy Association, like, at this point we don't know if they're gonna be still good per se, or they're gonna be evil like they did with Saber a long time ago. I'm like, what are you? You're as useless as Mama-san. At least she does something. At least she goes on the other side of town and does her thing and gets groceries and, oversees her restaurant. You just sit there. Anyways, so they suggest that they just observe the king and just do nothing. And Spanner, rightfully so, gets pissed off, like, this is a ridiculous joke. Like, you guys are useless. And it looks like Spanner is gonna, like, beat one of the council members up, and Minato Sensei just stops and, like, no. Like, Minato Sensei even knows for sure that these old men in robes and hoods are, like, useless as F. But there's nothing he can do right now. I believe his main priority right now is dealing with the Abyssalis King, and and also teaching his students, which I will use the term teaching loosely. And it's not his main concern right now. But I bet even him, he is just annoyed with these people. And also, the council never claimed responsibility to what happened with those 2 inspectors that turned to the dark side. They never mentioned anything about that at all. It's just it just went under the rug. Like, ignore that. It never happened. But anyway, so Spanner gets pissed off that the council is not going to do anything to help against the Abyssalis King. And then once you mention its name 3 times, he magically appears. So he shows up making an entrance, and everybody in that room was in shock. Like, what in the hell are you doing here? Like, how did you get in here? It would have been so funny if the king would just said, the front door was open. I just walked in. No magic whatsoever. He just walked in there and just like, yeah, the door was open. I just walked in here. So we get to the next scene after the opening credits, of course, and Kudo was telling everybody about this fairy tale her father, Fuga, was read to her when she was a little girl about this golden flower. And supposedly this golden flower has the ability to make people smile. And she figures if this flower was real, it could help Weird Sister number 2 to make her smile and laugh. But we've seen number 2 at least smile a bit, especially around Spanner. I don't think it would be too hard. I just think that number 2 should just hang out with Spanner a little bit more, and maybe that could help her smile and just laugh. But I'm sure Spanner does not like the idea if it were come to pass. I bet he's just like, what a ridiculous joke. This is like not my virtue, that sort of thing. Because he doesn't want to play babysitter, especially when Kaguya came into the picture and he had to play bodyguard for him because, again, Hotaro being irresponsible. But anyways, I digress. So, and also, this is something that I picked up as well, and I believe it's an Easter egg, I believe, that Kudo mentioned daybreak in her conversation with her friends, and I'm like, is there a possibility that future Hotaro came up from the name Daybreak from the fairy tale Kudo was telling him a long time ago? And I'm like, that's a coincidence. Is it a coincidence? But it would make perfect sense when you think about it, since she mentioned daybreak in her fairy tale, and Hotaro used it as a name for his new form and everything. Makes sense, right? It's a connection. That's an Easter egg right there. Anyway, so after Kudo was telling her friends about this fairy tale about the golden flower, Hotaro was like, I wish this flower was real because I can use it to create some kind of batter or whatever for his food to make people smile, which causes Hopper 1 to be like, that sort of thing, like he wants the flower. So I'm guessing that Hopper 1 wants to help Hotaro find this flower, at least not right now, but it sparked its interest in helping him find it. However, I hate breaking this up to I hate being the bearer of bad news to you, Hotaro, but no amount of golden flowers will help you with your cooking, because come on, your cooking has been proven to be terrible. I have not seen you try to cook and improve, because I'll give you the benefit of a doubt, because you're going to school, you're going to do 2 different schools. You're trying to save the world from melgams and the king and the 2 sisters. Like, you have enough on your plate, so it makes sense that you don't have time to practice your cooking. But, I mean, your cooking is terrible, and no amount of flowers will help it. I'm just saying. I hate being the bringer of bad news, but I have to say it. But anyways, Hotaro gets inspired, and he decides that, hey, I have an idea for a recipe I want to plan on cooking. So he goes out of the restaurant and does this thing. We move back to the council room where the king introduces himself to everybody, and tells the council, hey, well, I am the demon from your fairy tale. So we have one reveal that apparently the first Alchemy Kamen Rider faced this demon, aka the Abyssalis King. And you assume that the king is here to talk, which I assume it was intended like, hey, I just came here to talk, not to fight. But one of the council members decided to attack the king, and unfortunately, he turned into an Obi-Wan Kenobi, where he disappears, his robes are down, so he is dead. And then Spanner decides to, go on the attack against the king. And the king decides to change the arena. He transports Spanner to some place outside of the council room. And we get, the legit final boss-ish fights. And this fight is just to demonstrate how powerful he is. And there is a possibility that he could be one of the final bosses or the final boss, because remember, the master is still trapped in the Ouroboros realm, and there's a strong possibility that the king himself may decide to open that gate and bring back the master, and they're going to have a tag team. Maybe they fuse together to become the ultimate monster / Kamen Rider, that sort of thing. I'm expecting that to happen. And so during the fight, the king tells Spanner, like, I know your every move, I know your every thought. Hell, I know what's inside your soul. And Spanner, of course, is like, you don't know jack about me, which led to the king saying, oh really? Well, I sense a bit of sadness inside you, which causes Spanner to be a little bit angry and decides to finish him off, but obviously it did not work. And, we get to see the awesome fireball final attack. We assume that, oh, Spanner is dead. But no, Spanner is alive. And you see all these purple flames coming off of him. Luckily, Minato Sensei was there, because I think if you would have left them alone, I think Spanner might as well be dead. But luckily, Minato Sensei steps in. They both retreated. And the king says, after 120 years, the Alchemist Association is weak, which I couldn't agree with him more. However, due to his fight with Spanner, it sparked an interest in him in terms of, the Kamen Riders have potential. So I want to learn more about them if they are in any use to him. So do you think that the king will want to recruit the Kamen Riders to his side due to, hey, like, you've proven to be valuable, you survived my attacks, why not just join me? And we can create that utopia. But we don't know yet. But as of right now, the king has an interest in the Kamen Riders now. And then here comes Weird Sister number 3. She pops out of nowhere, out of concern for the king, like, hey, your majesty, are you okay? What's going on? And the king tells Weird Sister number 3 that he is going after Hotaro next, which causes number 3 to be like, this shot was awesome. Like, the actress does a great job. She just, like, has this reaction on her face, like, what? Like, this shocking look on her face, like, you're going after Hotaro? Are you gonna kill him? And, of course, the king does not answer her, but I like that scene because even though she has been empowered by the king, and you assume that she's no longer her anymore, because, her suit is, like, god damn, but it's just, you can tell that she is concerned, really concerned, and just like, ugh. So it's already seeds planted that I think number 3 may jump ship and maybe join the alliance. We don't know that for sure, but that concern really just like, oh man, she really does care for Hotaro just a tiny bit, or else why did she ask, hey, are you gonna kill him? Anyways, we move on from that to the marketplace, where you see Hotaro just getting ingredients, fruits, whatever he needs for his recipe, whatever. And then lo and behold, speaking of daybreak, here comes, the Time Lord Kemi, and Hotaro captures it and asks it, hey, are you the same card that, are you Daybreak's card? Like, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden things get a bit weird, because it feels like time is slowly stopping, and then Hotaro gets transported somewhere, because you see, like, he came from the marketplace, he was talking to the card, and then all of a sudden the scene literally flips. It turns into a circle, and he lands himself in some rooftop somewhere. And mind you, this happens more than once in this episode, which caused me to go all dizzy. I'm like, stop with turning, stop it. I'm getting dizzy. So he shows up at some random building on the roof, and he sees the Abyssalis King just floating, and he decides to immediately attack him. Like, he even said, I want that part of me back. It's almost as if Hotaro stole something from him and he wants it back. So he does the whole grabbing of the heart type of thing. His hand went through his body, and you see him trying to get the egg out of Hotaro, and you hear Hotaro in pain, and you see the king trying to yank the egg out from Hotaro, but for whatever reason, the egg resists him and just pushes the king away. And the king was like, oh, really? So you are resisting me? Okay. All right. I see how this is. And we get another reveal that apparently after the king was banished, before he was banished, he was supposedly destroyed, and some part of him got separated before he got banished into the Ouroboros realm, and he wants it back after 120 years. So 10 years became 120 years. So this is brought to you by 120 years. So we get to see Hotaro getting knocked down because of the energy blast. You see his deck of cards just flying around, lands on the ground, and you see the king taking two chemi cards, the ant trooper and the skebos. I can't pronounce them. I do apologize. And as Hotaro immediately picks up the rest of the chemi cards, this is where we get another revelation from the king himself. Not only that he revealed that he is apparently the king from the Golden Flower fairy tale, he's also the creator of the chemies, at least two of them, the main two, the Gaiard, I'm just gonna call it Gaia, and the Dragalos chemi cards, the two level 10 chemies, the originals. And as he was telling Hotaro this reveal that he's apparently the father of the chemies, the creator, he just continues picking up the cards, and then once he finishes, you would expect like a shock, like, wait a minute, I don't believe you, you're lying. How can you be the creator of these wonderful creatures? I don't believe you. Instead of that, Hotaro, cringy Hotaro moment, was like, so what? And I even wrote this down, guys. I even wrote this down. Like, he says, so what? There's no, that's no excuse for hurting the chemies. I'm like, Jesus, Hotaro. Like, that should have been maybe second to last. The first sentence coming out from your mouth could have been like, you are the creator of the chemies? Like this shocking, confusing type of thing. It's like Darth Vader revealing that he is the father of Luke type of thing. And of course Luke is screaming no, but then Hotaro's case is like, okay, it's like Luke telling Vader, like, okay, so what? You are hurting people. What? I can't stand with the writing and the lack of realism in this stupid show. So, yes, so instead of going all into shock and disbelief, Hotaro is like, okay, so what? That's not an excuse for hurting my chemies. Okay. And the king continues on saying that the chemies were created to hurt people. And he points to Hopper 1 and says, like, this creature right there is meant to cause famine. And of course, Hotaro just quickly snatches Hopper 1 and holds it like a baby. And just like, no, the chemies are good creatures. They're meant to make people happy. And I'm surprised that, well, first, before I move on any further, like, again, why do I get this feeling that he is trying his best to cry? I don't understand, because when he got Hopper 1, he tells the king, and you have this facial expression that it's like he's trying to cry again. Like, what's going on? Like, guys, am I going crazy here? Am I the only one seeing this? Write in the comments below, because I believe I'm gone crazy here. But he tries to cry, let's just say, and he goes on this spiel that, okay, chemies are good creatures, they're meant to help people, and I'm seriously surprised that he never tells the king that, hey, I have this gotcha that one day chemies and humans can coexist in peace. He didn't do that speech, the I have a gotcha speech, but it's close enough, right? So he is attempted to cry as he is telling the king that you are wrong, and these creatures are peaceful, they're my friends, yada yada yada. And to make things a whole lot worse, he uses one of the stolen chemi cards he stole from Hotaro, the skateboard chemi, and it looked like he was going to kill it by, just like how you say, just crumbling it into a ball. And I'm like, oh man, he's gonna kill a chemi right before Hotaro's eyes. Maybe it will lead something, but no, it wasn't the case. He crumbled the chemi into a ball, yes, but it didn't kill him. Instead, it turned him into a melgam. So this particular melgam is really special because usually melgams, you need a host in order to become one. In this case, no. That liquid that came out from the crumbled card created the chemi. And this time with a different color, and you assume that, okay, the melgams created from the king is going to be more powerful than the traditional melgimes from before, and I was right. And so the king created the melgime. Luckily, the rest of the alliance shows up and tells Hotaro, "Hey, we found you thanks to the Time Lord card. It led us to you." And we get this fight between Kudo and Hotaro versus evil melgime. And they fight for a bit on the roof. And then the king decides to let's change the atmosphere for a bit. So he does this thing again where we get transported to another place, and we see in the background, we get from one place to another. It just flips into a circle. I'm like, stop! You're making me dizzy. And then we meet with Weird Sister number 3, and she decides to join in, so it became a 2-on-2 match. So we have Hotaro versus melgime, and then Kudo versus number 3. And all the while, those two are obviously struggling, especially Hotaro, because he's like this melgime is definitely different from the past melgimes. He knows this, and he just is struggling to fight this monster. And then he decides to use his UFO X form, that maybe it could help separate the melgime and the chemy, but that did not work. And when he tried to use his sword, he just stops himself, and we get flashbacks of Hotaro and his time with the skateboard chemy. And again, he's like, what's up with this feeling? Like, what's going on? Like, he is really confused as to what is going on. Why am I getting these flashbacks? Why am I getting this feeling or something? And then you have Sabi and Renge. They decide to help out by shooting, energy blasts to the melgime, and I think to Weird Sister number 3, but mostly on the melgime. And then the melgime decided to screw Hotaro. I'm gonna go after the other 2 kids, which it does. And Hotaro transforms into platinum and just uses his powers to not only destroy the melgime, but also saving Sabi and Renge, because they're not Kamen Riders, and their energy blast doesn't phase this beast. And so as Hotaro successfully saves his friends from the melgime is defeated, and all of a sudden things get really strange. Weird Sister number 3 just stops the fight she has with Kudo, and she just like, oh well, now you done it, and she just walks away. And I'm like, what does she mean by that? Like, what's going on? And then you see smoke because of the attack, and then Hotaro tries to call it back into the card, but for whatever reason it doesn't return to its card. So this is where Hotaro, Kudo, and everybody else gets really concerned. So in the midst of the smoke, he runs towards this huge skateboard, which, mind you, it looks like it was made out of foam. Great design, by the way. I give kudos to the people in the back creating these suits and all that stuff, all the props. But the scale bow is all in white, like black and white, made of foam. And Hotaro, in a panic, was like, hey, wake up, and it's like shouting its name out, like, and shaking, and Kudo is in the back, just wooden Kudo as usual. She doesn't give out any reaction whatsoever. And then you have Sabi and Renge from the bridge looking down like in shock, like what's going on. And as Hotaro is like yelling its name out, shaking it and trying to make it wake up. The last scene of this episode is you see number 3 and the king, and the last words he says is, "I understand this sadness," and the episode ends there. Yeah, I mean, finally we are back in business. No more filler episodes. We get into a couple of reveals that the king himself was actually the demon in the book that Fuga read to Kudo, and he is the creator of the 2 level 10 chemi cards. And according to him as well, due to the fact that he created those 2 cards, the alchemist decided to copy his creation, hence the other chemi cards. So he only created the 2. The chemist decided to create other chemi cards. So let that be clear. Hotaro, I'm so frustrated with this kid. It's because of the writing. It's because I just felt like, Hotaro, this final boss is giving you secrets, these reveals that, hey, I'm the creator of the chemies, and your response is, I don't give a damn whether you're the father or not. That doesn't give you the right to hurt the chemies. It's just like, what? Like, you should be shocked and confused and be like, how can a demon like you created these special creatures, the creatures that I treasured to be my friends, or in Hotaro's case, my children, his children. And it's just, and he yells at it, the king, like, these creatures are meant to bring happiness to people, and they're not meant to hurt people. And like, okay, I get it, but Jesus, he's just, But mind you, as Hotaro was picking up his cards, you have the king confessing that he is the creator, and I feel like, are you paying attention, Hotaro? Are you paying attention? Like, you're like picking up all the cards up while he's just talking. But I'm sure he was listening, of course. But to me, it appeared like, well, my concern right now is picking up the rest of my cards before it flies away, and I can give a damn of what he is confessing to me right now. This episode also proves that the Alchemy Association is a useless bunch of old men and hoods, and they just sit there and do nothing to help. And I mean, I don't blame Spanner. I would have just done the same thing. I'm like, look at here, like, we've done most of the work. We ask you for help against people like the sisters to the master, and now this, and all you can do is just, we have to wait it out and observe, or your main priority right now is to capture the rest of the cards. It's just like, they are useless. So leading up to what I'm going to say, and also I'm going to mention the final form, because now it's been revealed now on social media that, hey, we have a glimpse of the final form right now, which I have not an issue towards the suit, but more of an issue about timing, which I will get into in a moment. So it just proves that the Alchemy Association is useless, and it's just, I'm gonna say this: where in the hell is Fuga? Screw the association, find Fuga. He has proven to be the OP alchemist. Why not just go hunt him down? Because apparently the one that died was actually a clone. So the real one is still out there. And also, we don't know why there's an egg inside of Hotaro and who put it there. I assume it could be Fuga. Or it could be Hotaro's dad, which, by the way, we still don't know who the hell Hotaro's father is. Is he a friend of Fuga's? Is he still Fuga? Is it the master? Oh, hell, is it the the Abyssalis King? Is he the father of Hotaro? I mean, at this point, anything, like, you have an egg inside of your body, anything can happen at this point. But it's just, why the secrecy then? Why the secrecy? If it ends up being a regular man, I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna be like, you writers suck. You shrouded this man into mystery, and it's revealed that Hotaro's father was nothing more than a regular man. What the hell? But however, I don't think so. I believe Hotaro's father is in fact an alchemist. I believe either he's a member of the association or he is a close friend to Fuga, Minato Sensei, I don't know. But I get this feeling that maybe, just maybe, Hotaro's father did pull a memory wipe on his wife. And just, I don't know, because I get this feeling that Mama-san is like, not have this feeling like, hey, how come my husband hasn't returned yet? I haven't gotten any calls from this guy. Like, Hotaro does not even mention his father to his mom. Like, have you received any word from my dad? Is he okay? Is he not okay? What is going on? Guys, like, this is just common sense. I'm not making this up just to spark controversy or whatever it is. It's just, these are the things I'm just noticing right now. And it's not to make fun, but it's just like, I'm just giving some light into this weird situation that the writers themselves put themselves into, because none of these things right now makes any sense. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. But before I go on to a rant, not a rant, but into this rabbit hole, right? I want to mention quickly about the rainbow suit of Hotaro's final form, his mega form, as I like to call it. And looking at this picture, it looks pretty good. It looks okay. I honestly prefer platinum over the rainbow form, but that's just my opinion. Platinum to me looks more legit as a final form than the rainbow one, but I mean, it looks okay. I'm sure it looks even better on screen. So right now it looks okay, and it's something to get used to, and it just reminds me of repainted Saber to me. It's repainted Saber, all blue and just all rainbows all around. So it's okay. I have no ill will. Like, it's okay. However, what I have an issue is, I just don't understand these Japanese magazines where, hey, we have a glimpse of what this suit, whether it's the ultimate or the mega, whatever it is, we have this exclusive picture of this suit that we're gonna see on screen. I'm like, why ruin the surprise? Why not just release the issue during the episode or after? Because I just don't understand why these magazines decide to, hey, let's just send our magazines off with the final product, the final form or whatever, suits, whatever, and just get that out there early. To me, this is just maybe a pet peeve of mine. It frustrates the hell out of me that these magazines decide to, hey, let's just spoil this thing, and hey, here's a picture of the final form, everybody. Hey. And I'm like, okay, where's the surprise at? Where is the surprise? Like, we need some surprises in Kamen Rider, because it's just, okay, we're gonna get a final form, and this is a design. Okay, when it comes out, it's like, I'm not gonna feel surprised. I'm not gonna feel like, oh, wow, it looks pretty cool or it looks pretty ugly. It's like, I'm not gonna get these feelings because you took that moment away from me. Because of this stupid magazine that decides to be put on shelves like a week or like a couple of days early. I'm like, whatever. Okay, fine. They always do this, guys. It's not just for Kamen Rider, but also in Takusetsu. So it's something to point out. They've been doing that for years, but it's just like, come on, we need some surprises. And also, I mean, again, the lack of surprises to how predictable Kamen Rider is sometimes. I'm like, stop it. Come on. Other than that, I mean, that's it, you know. Hopefully into the final episodes we'll learn how did Hotaro, you know, have this egg inside him. Of course the egg is connected to the final form. It's pretty obvious. So once the egg is out and hatched, it's gonna be another thing to add to the driver to transform into the rainbow gacha. It's just no surprise there. And also hopefully we will learn what happened with Fuga and also Hotaro's dad. Also, okay, what are we gonna do with the Alchemy Association, because to me they're just a useless bunch, and like, are they even worthy of being villains at this point? I mean, they need to be disbanded. Other than that, one last thing before I go. It would have been awesome if indeed the king decides to crumble the card and just kills the Kemi right there and then, and Hotaro goes into a full rage. He turns into a Vegeta, because remember in Dragon Ball Z, you know, he sees Trunks like almost at the point of dying and he gets all berserk and angry. Like, can you imagine Hotaro doing that? Because it makes sense, because he's attached to these chemies to the knee, and to see it die in front of him, like, it would have been a great character arc for him. And it will make a complete 180. He goes to a full rage. The Alliance, everybody is like, this is a side of him I've never seen before. He is angry, full of rage. He cannot control himself. He wants revenge against the Abyssalis King. But of course, you know, the Alliance is like telling him that this is not the right way. Like, you need to calm down. But it's something for Hotaro to experience. But obviously, the writers are not going to do that. We're not going to witness a Kemi death. The skateboard is going to be fine. It's just, this is just one of the reasons why many people is telling that this season is one of the most boring shows so far. Because these writers are not, they're not willing to go outside the box and really explore and just do this, do that. But I'm gonna be on another rabbit hole. This episode of Riderpiece Theater is not gonna end, so might as well end it here. What do you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did I miss anything? Because even though I have my notes in front of me, you know, I tend to miss a couple of things. Please let me know, like, you know, what your thoughts and feelings about this episode. And the season as a whole. I'm really curious, especially when we're super close to the end. Other than that, please give a like if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!